Yeah, before we come up to modern times, I'd like to get back to the slavery period. And in your book, you talk about you document specific examples of some of the doctors who were involved in these ghoulish experiments. So you mentioned Dr. James Marion Sims and Dr. Walter F. Jones. Can you talk about some of the things that they practiced on slaves in those days?
Right. James Marion Sims was a very important surgeon from Alabama, and all of his medical experimentation took place with slaves. He took the skulls of young children, young black children, only black children, and he opened their heads and moved around the bones of the skull to see what would happen. Posited as a cure for disease, but there was no rationale for that. He also decided to remove the jawbone of a slave, but this slave was pretty intractable. He did not want the surgery. He loudly protested against it, and in response, Dr. Sims had him tied to a barber's chair and held immobile while he operated on him without anesthesia. But he's most infamous for his experiments, reproductive experiments with black women. He bought and otherwise acquired a group of black women who he housed in a laboratory, and over the period of 5 years and approximately 40 surgeries on one slave alone, he sought to cure a devastating complication of childbirth called vesicovaginal fistula. This cure entailed repeatedly doing incisions on their genitalia. Very painful and, very emotionally difficult, as you can imagine. And in the end, he claims to have cured one of them. And after this, he went north, where his medical fortune was made. He became the toast of Second Empire Paris when he went there to be the personal physician of Princess Eugenie. And when he returned to New York, he was elected the president of the American Medical Association. I think this is really important because although often you speak of surgeons and doctors who do non-consensual experimentation, and we think of these Frankensteinian characters, but the reality is these have tended to be overachieving adepts who were stellar physicians. They were well-revered, well-respected within the profession in their time, and people only knew of their work through their own bowdlerized versions of it. They wrote up these accounts in medical journals, but they never characterized them as abusive experimentation because it was accepted for them that you operated on slaves who couldn't say no.
Talk about Tuskegee, the Tuskegee Experiment. Though you write about how it obscures all others, a lot of people don't even know about Tuskegee.
That's true. That's true. Tuskegee is the icon of abusive experimentation of black people, but it's true. Many people still don't know what happened, and there are a lot of misconceptions floating about as well. So that's a really good question to me. What happened was that about 400 black men in Macon County, Alabama, with syphilis, who had been diagnosed with syphilis at least, were studied over a period of 40 years by the United States Public Health Service.